push back a little bit. So the whole point of all this, I guess, when it comes to the podcasting and everything else, when you're putting yourself out there, for me in general, kind of ties to the video you just saw a little bit about. And I'm not going to come back pretending to be some holier than thou person or whatever. As a matter of fact, in my recent past, the last season of my life, I was fairly messed up. I'm just thankful that the Lord has kind of put me back, not kind of, but he's put me back in the right direction and on the right path. My life is still pretty fractured in some instances, but what I want to focus on right now would be things that concerns the city, but also concerns like just the individual personally. And I tell you what, in a city that's dying like this one, and make no mistake about it, if you spend any amount of time here, from decades past till right now, the city is dying. I mean, it's already dead, and that happens when it's run by, you know, I don't know, I don't want to seem so pessimistic about things, but I mean, just the state of everything, it sucks, but God still has a remnant of people here, and I definitely want to be counted among that remnant. I don't care about this world or things that happens in this world. I honestly want to be what Christ wants me to be. So if it's highlighting certain things, like we could highlight, you know, hometown heroes and you know, the people of yesterday and what they did for the city. I have certain people on board for that, you know, whether it be Ron Johnson or Kevin Compton or some of these guys that, you know, this is a small country town. Friday Night Lights was the key back in the day. You know, I'm talking about the 90s. I'm talking about things that you young people born after the millennium won't understand. But, you know, at least you'll get the gist of it. Or whether we're talking about some of the plights of the elder people here, the elderly, and things that are plaguing the society, whether it's inflation, whether it's scamming, all these topics. I mean, wherever the Lord leads me, because we need to shine a light on so many different things in this society. I know that there are certain businesses around here that I want to shine a light on that are doing good work in the community. I mean, we have one health food store the size of a classroom in this place, in this area. I will tell you what, in this area alone, there should be several Walmart-sized health food stores here. I mean, it's not about the people clamoring for it. The people would get whatever is in the actual area for the people to get. And if you feed people death, they'll eat death. You feed people life, they'll eat life. I mean, we're in the Bible Belt, in a country farm town. I mean, farmers markets and farming and health. I mean, it should be at the forefront of each one. I mean, like of most of the people here. So that's a highlight. There are some topics that'll be fun. Some things we got some small business owners that are coming through. You know, Euphonic Creations own Warren Reed, the regulator, is one of those. You know, a lot of guys that have run businesses in this city for decades. You know, that are willing to sit down with me. You know, Patch Dakota for one, and some other people that I know, and I'm very happy to shine a light on them. We have small business owners like Amina Williams Grant, who has a T-shirt and a fragrance line. All the things that she's doing, pretty much while she's being successful and has flown under the radar, she's about to blow up. That's going to be a story that I think a lot of people here would like to hear about or understand a little bit more of. There's just so much that we have in this place, and all we have to do is nurture it. So I want to make sure that I highlight that. The small business owners, Common Ground Ministries. Common Ground Ministries is this place that helps men specifically. And I will say that where men are concerned, where you have certain things that have actually would have actually And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, with a new environment. It was a long break. No, just kidding. Just hitting the topics that we were just speaking on, So, many of those things to highlight because there are certain community issues around here, but when I'm saying, like I said before the break, trying to go whichever way the Lord leads me. It's been difficult for me because I haven't been the best. I haven't had the best character in my personal life. Although I believe I have been blessed to experience certain things and see certain things that I believe the Lord would have had me see and had me be a part of. I've just been a wayward, prodigal son in a lot of instances. A lot of my personal issues fractured my own life. I was so blessed in certain instances, and the issues that I have basically are self-imposed. I hurt myself. Although I've helped in certain instances, and I've been a blessing to certain people, and people have been a blessing to me as well. It's just hard when you get back into this area where everything is just so, the outside's matched by inside, basically, the battle of the mind, if you will. The things that one can go through personally, spiritually, emotionally, those types of things, It's not hard to trust in the Lord. It can be hard for a person like me to trust in myself and what I have to do and what I have been called or tasked to do. I continue to second guess myself a lot because of a lot of the choices I've made in life, and something that we can get into, but I'm being glib for a reason. I don't want to get into talking about too many of my issues at the moment, because I do want to highlight what's going on with society as well. We want to talk about Common Ground Ministries a lot. You've heard that name a couple of times already, but a lot of us can find ourselves being so broken spiritually that we need places like that just to get to the next phase, maybe to get to the next chapter, maybe to reboot. If we're blessed enough with the time down here to do that. Being a hedonistic type of person, which we don't realize it, some of us, especially the younger people, but living for self is one of the fastest ways to ruin your life. It's one of the fastest ways to ruin society. And I don't want to harp on that so much, because when we shine lights on these things, we do have these root causes and these root issues, but it's important that we understand that as long as the Lord gives us breath and we seek Him, even when we fall, we can be redeemed, Christ did all the work on the cross for us. All we have to do is truly accept that, follow him, and life can be better. Life can be better for those of us that may have made a mess of it a little bit. So it's important to focus on outreach and outwardly. Certain places that need the support of the city, but also certain places in these pockets, I mean, they heal certain parts of the city without the city even knowing it. I mean, Common Grounds will heal and send back out leaders in the community. And it's not the actual, it's not just Common Grounds that does it, it's the Lord that does it through certain factions, through certain, ministries and things like that. But we have to realize that it's so systemic, the hedonism and paganistic type of ways we have, and we wonder why things are so messed up, and we don't want to rely on the Lord, but we want to call on him on certain times when we need things to be how we want them to be. It's not about that. It's about following him. It's about him getting us through to the next chapter. It's about him getting us through so we can truly repent and truly turn from our ways and truly follow the example that Jesus set for us. Truly follow Jesus and who he is to us. I told you guys I'm going to take a different route this season. Now, there's a lot of things to talk about, but I promise you that the foundation, but it's also a paramount foundation, meaning, it's the foundation of everything that I do. I pray that it's blessed by the Lord and it's led by the Lord. And I pray that Father just fills me with the Holy Spirit. And Jesus left so that he would send the Holy Spirit so it would indwell us believers, and so that we can worship in spirit and truth. And I just want to be filled with the Spirit so I can be led by the Spirit, so that I can have the fruits of the Spirit. And we'll talk about so many different things, but it all starts there. So if you don't want me harping, or you think I'm preaching too much, or whatever the case may be, I just want you to know that I need this. I've been the worst of the worst, and I know I'm not the worst person that's ever lived, but it's not about comparing yourself. Like, each one of us individually, the sinful lives that we have lived, no matter what the sin has been against God, and we need to reconcile that. And the only way we can reconcile ourselves to the Father is through Jesus, because he came down and gave his life for us, sinless life, gave his life for us so that we can be reconciled. God hates sin. He can't look upon sin. He can't look upon any one of us. But because of what Jesus has done, and if we belong to Jesus, because of that, what can happen is the Lord can look at us and see that we're covered and washed by the blood of the Lamb, and we can be reconciled to the Father. Whether you think so or not, because we have this life, I don't care if it's affluent or if you're poor. I don't care if you have a big house, or I don't care what you have. I mean, we're all going to die one day. There is a life. It doesn't matter whether it takes faith to believe whatever you believe, even if that's in nothing. But we'll all find out sooner or later that God is real, that Jesus is real. And what's going to happen is you're going to have people like me claiming the name of Jesus and claiming the ministry of Jesus, claiming the divinity of Jesus. He is who he says he is. He has done what was prophesied, what he said he was going to do. It's all true. And no matter whether you live 50 years or 80 years, you've been told this by many people. People like me, people in the pulpit, that when your parents made you go to church, people on the radio, people on TV. Sometimes you might, there's a lot of preachers out there, a lot of preaching, a lot of people that's been able to get the word. And it's up to you. It's going to ultimately be up to you, but you'll realize that this is so foundational, because if you don't get this, really nothing else matters. Nothing else truly matters if you don't get this locked down. And you can think I'm preachy, but I just got to do what the Lord has told me to do. And I gotta tell people about Jesus. I can't go about life living for self. I can't go about life just continuing to willfully sin. I can't go about life thinking that I know better. Who knows better than God? Who knows better than Yahweh? Who knows better than Abba Father? Nobody. For all the intelligence and the business acumen you might have or I might have, it pales in comparison. It's this amount. And this is where God is, all the way up there. So it's like it doesn't matter if you don't get right with God. You don't get right with the Lord Jesus, with Yeshua. Nothing else matters. So you get that right. You got the main thing, and then yes, we have to go through this life, and life can be pain, life can be trying, life can be hard work, and it can be stressful and all these things. But with God on our side, with God in our corner, it's all worth it, and it all makes sense. But really, you got to get that main thing straight. And we'll talk about some of these businesses and stuff later, because, farmers markets and things like that. How we fuel ourselves, how we get healthier, myself included. I've come down here and tried to change the culture in a certain pocket and failed miserably and ended up just getting back into that habit, and it's ruining my health. I'm telling you, we can't stay like this. We'll talk about all that in a second when we come back. Right now, we're going to have a word from our sponsors, Nutrimart. For almost the past 30 years, Nutrimart has been one of the leading vitamin, supplement, health brands and a pillar in the San Diego community. Now boasting 8 stores in San Diego, this family-owned brand has a full-service online store for those of us in this part of the country, and they cater to all athletes, CrossFitters, health nuts, Yo Mama, Bo Jackson, Frodo and his Hobbits, Han Swallow, Darth Sith Pack coaches, and a plethora of so many different sports enthusiasts across the country. And like those that order this product from coast to coast, you too can use Nutrimart for all your health needs. Find all the best national brands in vitamins, meal replacements, testosterone, libido enhancers, greens, herbs, protein bars, fat loss aids, muscle builders, and more. And order today from NutrimartUSA.com. That's NutrimartUSA.com. We'll put the address on the screen below, and you can start your order today. Don't miss out now. Go to NutrimartUSA.com, check out their vast array of products, and order today. And get your swole on, people. Now back to the show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. There are certain small businesses here. I love the country vibe, I really do. Certain small businesses here that I just can't get enough of. When you go in, now it's very few, not in the city. The city is dying, like I explained earlier, because the enemy. I mean, like we're going to talk about how we change things around for the youth, how we change things around for people that really truly want to serve the Lord and just live in a nice, a kind, a wonderful community instead of, some type of ghetto, fabulous, this is all we know, this is where we grew up. I mean, it doesn't cost anything to be kind. Everybody's always trying to get over one another, but there are certain businesses on the outskirts, way out past Cabinet. No, there's a lot of places. No, I mean, I would hardly go into the city. I won't even go to a McDonald's within Pine Bluff city limits. Have you seen the customer service there? And it's not like there's an evil spirit over most everything, and it's like all you have to do is go somewhere. I mean, when you know what real customer service is, when a person, I don't care how you sound, I don't care about your vernacular, whether you can speak proper English, whether or not you sound country. I love Southern Belle accents, by the way, or how Southern people sound. I'm from here, I just don't necessarily sound like I am. But I've always loved that, and I just love how people sound, and when they're kind and they're just so sweet to people, because it's family friendly. You have to go into the country areas, to the mom and pop shops, to really find that, because you don't experience anything but attitude and ridiculousness within the city, except for a certain few places. Like there's this health food store on Olive Street. I'm going to be interviewing her probably within the next podcast or so, but it is a wonderful environment, and to be honest with you, we should all shop there so much that it should be able to grow into a super one-size type store. We start feeding ourselves and our people health. There's life in the health food, the supplements, and just the health food, as opposed to just buying what's cheapest. I'd rather have a few less dollars in my pocket and a few healthier options in my kitchen. And that's what I was trying to explain when I came down here, but somehow it doesn't vibe all the way. But we all have to, the Lord allots us a certain time. It doesn't matter what we do technically. I mean, it matters, but God will keep us here as long as He wants us to be here, and that's His purview, whatever He decides. But places like that, the customer service in there is so friendly. The older lady, I forgot what persuasion she is, but we'll talk to her later. DJ's out off of Camden Cutoff Road. I mean, it's a little mom and pop's gas station / little breakfast lunch eatery place, and it's amazing. Some Christian people that work in there, and you'll never go in there and get a ghetto voice or attitude or anything that you'll always get kindness. And we all want and we desire kindness, but it might not be what we should all have, but at the very least, we can treat each other like that, so that when we do go into these places, we show them a different way. So that's kind of the gist of really trying to highlight some of the things within the city, because if these places can thrive, and they can thrive with a certain type of people that work in them, like good Christian attitude, a good kind attitude. Hey, how's it going today? How are you? I don't care how you sound. You don't have to give a person an attitude when they come into your establishment, to patron your establishment. How can I help you? What do you want? Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't take anything to get up out of bed clock in and make your paycheck with a smile on your face. It's hard. It's hard in this day and age. It's hard with these type of people, the younger generation. It's like, whether you want to talk about kindness, whether you want to talk about chivalry, whether you want to talk about gentlemanlike and ladylike behavior, that's all like older people. Not all older people. As a matter of fact, not even most of them, but some of them are the reasons why we still have examples of that. But this whole city is being taken over by, the devil and his minions. There's an evil spirit over most of the places you go to shop. We must pray for these people. Prayer works, by the way. And we're not just talking about praying so that the Lord blesses us with more money or whatever, but no, just praying for the spirit of things to move. I mean, if you went through your day and you didn't focus on your finances, whether you have a little or a lot, and you just focus on your interactions, and every person you met, you made their day better. Every person that met you was trying to make your day better. You didn't get mean mugging from the four-way stop sign or sitting at the light or anything like that. If you were certain, and I get it, we're still down in the South and there's a whole racial thing down here. It's the only thing I miss about living in California for all those years. There's no racism really. There's a placism. Now, if you don't have money in certain areas, you get the stink eye, but it's a melting pot up there. So you do still have these pockets of older generations of Caucasians and African Americans that they have something against each other for the simple, stupid, arbitrary fact of their different shades. There's only one race. I don't care about all this country stuff, but we need to not have such a, I don't want to say dumb or ignorant. It's so dumb. I mean, but at the same time, I get attitude. I don't care how you look. I get that I don't want to be around certain attitudes or behaviors. That's what I get. I get that more than anything. And just because I look a certain way down here, I can walk. Only thing I have in common with most people that I know is that not even most people, most of the people I know down here, it's split, different hues, different HUES is what I'm saying, different skin tones. But I will get looked up and down or sideways just because I am a dark-skinned brown male. It sucks. I get tested by people that look like me because all the people that are super gangster and super thug, they want to look at their own people that look exactly like them, and they just it's crab in a barrel mentality. I stay away from that. I get looked at funny from people that are fairer skinned than I am because they'll look at me and see how these people act, and it's like, most of the rooms that I've been in, media and jobs and all that, and I'm not tooting my own horn. As a matter of fact, I told you my past is so checkered, but I'm just talking about my education. I'm talking about my vocation, my jobs, all that stuff. Most of the rooms I've been in, you've had to be top tier. I mean, I don't look it now. I've been slumming it out in the woods a lot, and to be honest with you, I like the fact that I don't have to go get a haircut in a lineup every 2 weeks. I don't want to fit in with that. I don't want to be. I want to belong to the Lord, and I want to look like I belong to the Lord, and it has nothing to do with getting your hair cut and looking the part. I mean, God looks at the heart, so. You're gonna see a whole bunch of muggly up in here. So if I can get my Moses beard back, you're gonna see it. Lord willing. I don't care about any of that. But what we want to do is focus on trying to change the culture of this place. Let's make Pine Bluff Christian again. How about that for a slogan? How about that this political season? How about no matter whether you're red or blue, Republican or Democrat, Libertarian, Independent, how about Jesus and his way is the only way. Everything else is moot. I don't care. I know it's easier said than done, but I personally don't care about anything. I'm developing a bit of agoraphobia the more I go out, if I go outside these doors without being prayed up, it's hard. Ladies and gentlemen, it's difficult for me because I'm not afraid of anything outside these doors. To be honest with you, it angers me a lot. And the Bible does say, be angry and sin not. And it's hard not to look at somebody in their stupid ways, or when they open their mouth and sound super stupid, it's hard not to be super mad at them, or to say, ooh, or to not hate them, but have that feeling. God says, the word says that if you hate someone, it's like murder. And you have to look at it like such. You have to look at it as such. You don't take it lightly. I mean, that's what Jesus said himself. And we go outside and we say anything or talk to people in any type of ways, make enemies everywhere. It's like, I hate that stuff. I'm like, leave me inside or around people I know until it's time to go out and preach, or it's time to go out and teach the word, or it's time to go out and outreach, or time to go out and fellowship. I mean, whatever. I don't know. I want the Lord to make me strong so I can just be out there and be a servant for him. And it doesn't matter what else. It doesn't matter how we get through it, as long as we get through it in his name. As long as we listen to the Lord and we follow his example and the examples he's left us through his holy scriptures, as long as we just stay in pocket, we don't get out of pocket and forget all. I mean, like the being a thug is so stupid. Being a tough guy is so dumb. Protecting your family, yes. Protect your family, protect your household, protect your stuff. I mean, yeah, I get all that. But tough guys don't have to act tough, you know? What happens is when we actually go outside of our home, we don't have to be all smiley at everyone. We don't have to be like, hey, neighbor, hey. I mean, we can, but all we need to do is make sure that when we approach someone, when we talk to someone, that we use the principles that God has given us to use. You don't know who might be on their last leg. We're talking about a lot of things going on individually, and I'll use myself more of an example in the future than anyone else, because I want to be anecdotal. I want to say real things. I don't want to just give these, lofty, this could never happen or possibly happen deal, whatever the case may be. But anyway, it's one of those things that we can help this city. Foundational is definitely Christian, but we can help these businesses, the businesses that we want to see succeed. Why are we not there every day collectively? Why don't we actually look to collectively support these businesses? And I love some of the places that the Lord allows me to go. Whispering Pines Church out there off of Old Warren Road, I believe. No, it's not Old Warren Road. I forgot. Pastor Wes Sparks. Just love the culture out there. New Life Center, Pastor Matt Mosler, Jober. I love these men of God, and he's put a culture in them to want to outreach and to want to disciple and to want to help change the city from the inside out. If you're happy with how things are, if you go to the McDonald's on Blake Street, or you go to what's some other ones? Or the Taco Bell on Olive Street, or if you go to a number of the businesses within the city, and you're just happy with how things are. Now, there are some really good ones. But if you go to most of these places and how people just talk to you, and just how we change, and the culture that we want right now, like I don't want to be out there in the woods. My intro here, like when you how peaceful it is. Lord Jesus, help us. Lord help us. I'm telling you, it's not a small thing, and it's not a one-time subject. You think scamming is bad. You think processed foods and USDA and FDA feeding us poison and keeping us on pills and keeping us sick. You think that wrongfully protesting on the wrong things and ruining social infrastructures and all this stuff is happening because our foundation is wrong. And the foundation has to be what I just mapped it out. It has to be that. It's only one way that works. Anyway, we'll take a break and we'll be right back. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for hanging out with us here at All Things Podcast. Life is happening. It's still happening, ladies and gentlemen. You have nothing to be afraid of. Listen, sometimes when you do a podcast, sometimes it is about your thoughts, and maybe sometimes it seems like you're preaching or you're rambling or what have you, but none of that matters. That's fine. That's what I'm here to do. So, take it how you will. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through this whole thing. We're gonna get past all these thoughts. They're not as incohesive as they seem. We're just talking about. City, we're talking about this culture, we're talking about our individual relationships with God and with one another, we're talking about small businesses, everything that makes up the infrastructure that is Pine Bluff. So sometimes we go with the flow of it. There's so many things, so many different notes, and so many different things, a couple of scripts that I have written down here. That what we're doing, though, is we're going right now, coming back into it. We're going with the flow because there's so many things to talk about. We're going to get it together here shortly. But my thoughts about it it's my thoughts about it. I might seem biased. I might seem a tad bit sensitive, which I'm not. I'm not an emotional person. Sensitive, yes, I feel things quicker than most people. I'm an artist. I mean, that was part of my vocation. That's what I did for so many years. But it's neither here nor there. There's no excuse for stupidity, poor manners, immaturity with mature folks. If you are over the age of 25 and you dress, speak, act like 25 or younger, there's no excuse for that. There's no excuse. There's a time to put away childish things. We were all taught better than that, down here at least. We were taught better than that. And some of the things I touched on, whether it be your spirituality, your personal relationship with Jesus, which is paramount, still the most fundamental thing here on this podcast, or whether it be your relationship with the people that you have to go out and see every single day, all these things have to change. There's no excuse once we take our last breath, because we take our last breath down here, we're going to take our next breath or whatever, on the other side. There's no excuse after that. But Lord, the majority of these people were fill in the blanks. That's why I treated them all this way. There's no excuse. Oh, but Lord, see, you don't understand. I couldn't resist that. No excuse. We got to repent, people, and we got to get with it. We do. I'll tell you, there's some of the things that we're talking about that we're just, taking little tidbits, little pinches off the edges there. But when we start speaking about them in a more deep manner, that it's going to offend a lot of people. If it hasn't already. Maybe it has already. Okay, that's fine. God bless us all. I do love the fact that I'm diving in and getting deeper into some of these things that I do believe, I feel the Lord has set me on a path with, so that I can dive deeper into the infrastructure with certain pillars of the community that have their finger on the pulse. They're at the forefront. A lot of realness is happening. A lot of things are happening. Can't say that this past year hasn't changed me. And I'm not entirely sure it's for the better. At least concerning how palpable it is for my relationships with people. Because I told you I just came off of a very personal, very horrible season of life where I ruined some things in my life. I did a whole bunch of things that I shouldn't have done. I don't know. It depresses me every single time I think about it. It's hard to get out of bed some days. If you don't know what depression is, what true depression is, what clinically diagnosed depression is, there is a chemical part to it, but there's also a spiritual part. No one will ever be able to tell me different. There's a spiritual part, and sometimes that spiritual depression is going to be there, and it's deep. Sometimes the Lord allows you to go through it so you can stay out of other things, But that depression is real. We'll get into that a little bit more too, but the thing about dealing with that on top of everything else is you have to have your foundation settled. Life is pain sometimes. It goes awry, it goes astray. We all know this. That's why we have so many issues. That's why people are so people-y. I don't know. It's just one of those things where what has to happen is we have to get back to being Christ-centered. We have to teach and train up everyone, our children, our young people in the way of Christ. Get rid of the attitudes. It's the dumbest thing in the world to have an attitude. When you see some of these young men and young women and they're walking around here with attitudes and these scowls on their face like they're the toughest thing since sliced bread. They invite all this physical danger and all this stupidity and this danger, and they carry all these weapons, and they invite, live by the sword, die by the sword. All you have to do is have half a brain cell to pull a trigger. That doesn't make you tougher. You know what? It's so funny to me, and I can't deal with it too much. When I'm out in public and I see a guy frowning and looking like he's trying to be tough. I mean, men down here are about as scary as 12-year-old Girl Scouts to me. And that's only because they try to be. It's not like I'm trying to offend anyone, but just be yourself, man. Keep your emotions in your pocket sometimes. There's something about being stoic that's still very manly, very righteous, very, very biblical. There's something about that. We got to get back to those ways, but, God will meet us all where we are. Next podcast, guys, what's going to happen? We have, and by we, I mean our esteemed CEO here, Warren, they're dealing with a faction in Africa called Mungai's Hand of Compassions, I believe. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. It's awesome. It's amazing. I mean, it's about, I've seen some of the videos where, you have a bunch of widows that they lose their husbands and they get together and they live together and they help each other out. I mean, we're talking about helping out the kids and the students. We're talking about communities coming together. If only our community can come together, and not just under any banner, but under the banner of Christ, under the banner of Jesus Christ. I mean, this entire city could change. It could. I literally know that it could. It's one of those things that's so easy that we won't get it. But I'll tell you more about it next pod. We got a lot of things to go over, a lot of places to move. In a few podcasts, you're going to see a metaphorical sermon or speech, walking in the wilderness on 58 acres of land. Just after praying and talking to the Lord, just talking to you good folks, and it's just going to be another one of those things where we're not going all over the place. There's a method to our madness, but you're going to see back and forth. You're going to see studio stuff. You're going to see outdoorsy stuff. You're going to see interviewing. You're going to see a lot of different things. I mean, we got it all for you, and we really just want to make sure that on top of everything that we're just here to uplift. We'll entertain a little bit, but we just want to uplift. This world is going to hell in a handbasket, y'all. I know that's a popular saying, but the statement is true. We gotta shore up. We gotta get ourselves together, because Jesus is coming back soon, and before that, things are going to progressively get worse and worse for the majority of us. That's not a morbid fact. That's just a fact. Just gotta get ready, people. Got to. There's no other way. I mean, I know you want there to be another way. I know we want what we want. I know we chase the American dream, head in the clouds, whatever, all that stuff. This is not the 90s anymore, or the 80s, or the 70s, or the 60s. Time is so short, and it's getting shorter. I mean, some of us have to try to shout that back. And listen, not a holier than thou guy. I just came off of a deep depression because of sin I was involved in not too long ago, and I'm gonna be transparent. I'm going to be transparent, because the more transparent I am, the less I have to watch what I say. The fewer ums you hear. I don't have to. I can just focus on the truth, as opposed to trying to polish it all up for you and make it nice and neat. But we're going to talk about all those things. We're going to be one of the podcasts. I'm not sure when. I know we're doing it now. We have an interview with the CEO of Euphonic Creations, Warren Reed, the regulator himself. That's going to be exciting. Stay tuned. I conducted that one myself. We have a commercial that we're shooting as a company-wide commercial. I wrote a few scripts, and we got them approved by some clients, and we're going to be doing some things. So later in the season, you're going to see those products. We have a lot of good stuff coming up, guys. Listen, we're working with certain ministries in the community. We're getting close to certain businesses. We're just going to report the truth to you, not your truth or my truth. We're gonna report the truth from whatever loft you're perched on. You might be perched up here. Your vantage point might be a little bit different from mine. Might be a little bit different from this person in Common Grounds, or this person at Whispering Pines, or this person back over here all the way up there in New Life. I mean, we're just going to report the truth. That's it. And Pine Bluff is going to, may God bless Pine Bluff to be all the better for it. we get this stuff out here. I mean, like, don't get me started. The HBCU here in the city. Don't get me started on some of these things. I'm gonna get started. I'm not. That doesn't matter. Whatever. That was. I shouldn't have said that because I'm gonna get started on them. And I'll tell you what. First-hand truth. Not going to spit a whole bunch of fire or whatever. Not going to be any gotcha or aha moments. Did some undercover work. You know, I have a journalistic background. I went in. I went in for about 6 months, 5 or 6 months to get firsthand knowledge of some of these things myself. But all of this is not going to be to bury anybody, but it's going to be to uplift the Lord. There's the Lord's way, and then there's the wrong way. I'm just going to report the facts, people. Don't shoot the messenger. I mean, if you want to, that's fine, because, you know, I just want to be on the side of Christ. That means I am enmity with the world, so I don't care what you think about me. Watch and enjoy, and pray for me, I'll say that much. And God bless you all. Thanks for hanging out with us today. And until next time, people.